Did you find yourself reaching for that third cup of coffee just to make it through the afternoon this week? Does your child seem to be constantly wired but somehow exhausted? Struggling to focus at school even these last couple days when they're not doing anything for the last 3 weeks, but that's a different conversation. And they won't wind down at night. You're not alone. I'm Dr. Matt Davis, and welcome to Reformed Family Chiropractic. So what you're experiencing is actually a cortisol addiction. This is a neurological dysfunction, and it isn't just affecting adults anymore. It's becoming increasingly common in children, okay? And I know you know all the theories behind this already, but let me just walk through this. This constant fight or flight state has become our new normal. It's wreaking havoc on our families' health and our personal well-being for us and our kids. The worst part, many of the solutions you've been offered, from ADHD medications to your child to an extra shot of espresso for yourself, are actually perpetuating this cycle that you're trying to break. So I bet you're wondering, why did this video find me? Well, this video is for exhausted parents whose children struggle with focus, hyperactivity, anxiety, or mood swings, especially if conventional care plans haven't provided any lasting relief for you. It's also for you as parents who themselves feel constantly drained, wired, dependent on some sort of stimulant to get through the day. That is no fun to be that way, right? We don't want to be dependent on anything. So we're revealing how modern society has trapped both children and parents into this chronic stress cycle, creating a literal addiction to those stress hormones in our body. And as nerves that fire together, wire together, so do hormones. They start following the same pathway. So you'll learn in this video how cortisol addiction masquerades as ADHD or anxiety sometimes, and why these medications often make the problem worse, how that neurological approach can help your family, your whole family, break free from this cycle. All right, the statistics are alarming. According to recent data on ADHD, the diagnosis in kids has nearly doubled in the past 20 years. Did you catch that? Doubled. With stimulant prescriptions and non-stimulant prescriptions following suit. Yet these medications don't address that underlying neurological imbalance, okay? They put a patch on top. So in our practice, we are constantly see families where both children and parents are caught in this stress cycle, okay? Where the child is prescribed stimulants to focus on the issue while the parent relies on caffeine, creating this mirror image, and this pattern of this nervous system dysfunction goes around and around and around. The connection becomes even more clear when we understand that many of these children experience some form of birth intervention, or trauma, from forceps to vacuum extractions, C-sections, or even pushed through labor unnecessarily fast, which can create that initial neurological imbalance that sets up this cortisol addiction from the start. So let's talk about cortisol addiction and its connection to the ANS, or the autonomic nervous system. All right. I know you've researched the heck out of this already, so let's just go here. Cortisol addiction occurs when the body becomes dependent on the stress hormone of cortisol and adrenaline for energy, focus, and daily function. It's not a clinical diagnosis, but a psychological, physiological state where the body is adapted to chronically elevated stress hormones. They're used to being up here. So that autonomic nervous system has two main branches: the sympathetic of fight or flight, right? And the parasympathetic, which is rest, digest, and restore. So they should work in balance together, with the sympathetic activated for emergencies and the parasympathetic predominant for that healing and restoration, right? Whew, lots of fun stuff here, okay? But in that cortisol addiction, the nervous system becomes stuck in that sympathetic dominance, constantly pumping out those stress hormones. So over time, the body begins to acquire these hormones just to function, creating a vicious cycle. All right, so here's how birth trauma sets the stage for cortisol addiction. Birth interventions, though very common, not normal, okay? Birth interventions like forceps, vacuum extractions, C-sections, and even induction can create a physical trauma to that delicate upper neck and brainstem area of those newborns, causing what we use in chiropractic as a subluxation, or misalignment, tension, and neurological interference in the central nervous system. So when subluxation occurs in these key areas, it definitely impacts the vagus nerve and that autonomic function, often shifting the child immediately out of that parasympathetic into sympathetic dominance, and they begin their life there, so that's all they perceive and understand. All right, so this neurological imbalance can manifest initially as colic, reflux, sleep issues in infants, But as children grow, it usually shows up as focus issues, hyperactivity, emotional deregulation, and so many other behaviors that get diagnosed as ADHD or anxiety. So now let's get into that modern lifestyle factors that perpetuate that. And I know, okay, in Texas, we're go, go, go. All right, our modern environment bombards the nervous system with stimulation. Screens emit that blue light, triggers cortisol production. Processed foods spike and crash that blood sugar, constantly leaves little time for that parasympathetic recovery. So children are already dysregulated. Their nervous system's all over the place. They have intense stimulation, and that risk-taking behavior, that screen time and sugar, all perpetuate that dopamine and cortisol in their brain, which the brain starts craving. So as parents, we mirror this pattern with caffeine dependence, busy schedules, and then our own screen addiction. Like, we're just going through it, trying to find solutions, right? You're probably doing it right now, creating family-wide patterns of that sympathetic dominance. So we're maxed. So the medication trap that makes things worse. It is a trap, okay? When children display signs of sympathetic dominance, often prescribed stimulant medication like Adderall, Ritalin, which temporarily boost that focus. They give them those blinders, okay? But it further activates that sympathetic nervous system, putting them off the charts. So these medications don't address the underlying neurological imbalance. They actually reinforce it and potentially make the child even more dependent on that sympathetic activation for basic functioning. So they're wired and tired. Now, parents, we don't often realize that we're caught in the same trap, like I said, with caffeine and energy and chronic stress, which keeps our nervous systems in that same drive, running them from one practice to another, from one club team to another, from one thing to after another. So when we look at how neurologically focused chiropractic care breaks this cycle, right? Rather than masking the signs of this neurologically focused chiropractic care, addresses that root cause of cortisol addiction by identifying and correcting the subluxation, and we use the term interference with that proper autonomic function. We use advanced technology like the Insight scans to detect the neurological imbalance that exists and develop a personalized care plan that restores that proper function over time with repetition for you. So each specific adjustment helps release that stuck stress from the nervous system, activating that parasympathetic branch, allowing the body to shift out of that fight or flight into that rest and restore mode naturally. So when we break that cycle of cortisol addiction, it requires a comprehensive approach that addresses that root cause, all right? So at Reformed Family Chiropractic, we specialize in helping families, the whole family, reset their nervous system naturally. That's it. Without relying on medications that mask the signs. Our approach combines that neurologically focused chiropractic care with practical lifestyle strategies that are going to support that parasympathetic activation, the brake pedal. We got to get it on. So we got to improve that sleep rhythm, okay? Reduce that screen time, breathing, eating good food, getting outside, and getting that nutritional support that's going to help you there. And we can measure this with the Insight scans. So we provide a clear window into your family's nervous system function, allowing us to develop a customized care plan that addresses the specific needs for you and your children. So many parents tell us that they're amazed at how quickly both their children begin to feel better and more balanced, and they start to see this in themselves when their focus increases, better sleep, reduced dependence on stimulants, and just a better quality of life. So if you're ready to break free from your cortisol addiction and your kids' cortisol addiction and help your whole family thrive naturally, please click the link in our bio and schedule a consultation to use and find out how that Insight scan can tell more of your story. During this initial visit, we're going to take time to truly listen to your family story. I want to know the whole picture. What do you got going on? We're going to go through that neurological assessment to define and determine what approach is right for you. So don't let another day go by. If you've been trapped in this cycle all school year, summer's coming. What a great time to rebalance and discover. We take vacations in the summer. We sweat like crazy in the summer because it's Texas. And if we want to break that cycle, we've got to do something different. And we want to partner with you to help you. So I'm Dr. Matt Davis, Reformed Family Chiropractic, right in the heart of McKinney, Texas. And we can't wait to help you get out of that stuck cycle, get your health and healing back on track, and give you some solutions, hope, help, and answers to get you where you want your family to be.